Welcome to The Proper Podcast, the podcast dedicated to helping you reach your professional and personal goals the proper way. In today's episode of The Proper Podcast, we're going to be looking at a comment made by Gary Vaynerchuck in his book, Ask GaryVee. I'm not sure if it's actually hashtag Ask GaryVee, but either way, I think it's a great book. I'm listening to it right now on audio form, and I think he's really great in audio, so it makes sense that I'd listen to his book in audio form, but I thought it was great. And I'm about 3 chapters in, and I got to a question that I thought was very interesting, and especially what Gary responded to that question as well. So the format of the book is that a bunch of questions were given to Gary in various forms, and he compiled them and his answers into a book. And the question that came here for the answer that I thought was really interesting was, is it ever too late to start? And I thought that's a great question. I assumed that Gary would simply say, no, it's never too late to start. But instead, he went in a direction that was different than I expected. And he basically said that if you work in a job, you are not an entrepreneur. And this is very interesting to me. Again, he goes on to say that this is his opinion. This is one man's point of view. But he says that if you're in an airport and you're headed to a meeting or something like that for a job, then you are not an entrepreneur. He states his own anecdotal evidence of himself feeling that even in school, he's completely written it off because he knows that there is nothing in school that's going to benefit him. And even at 9 years old, he was thinking about business. And that was the only option for him. It was starting a business and getting out into the market. And he says that's what the definition of an entrepreneur is. Now, the response to that comment I thought was really, really funny. Gary goes on to say that people have said he's unfair for saying that. They get upset. They don't agree. And it's so funny because Gary is the king of saying stop caring about people's opinions. He says, don't set yourself on a mark of what somebody says is, hey, you have to be an entrepreneur by 30. You need to have a business by 30. He even says don't believe your own expectations of that. Basically, don't even listen to yourself when you set these goals or these standards that are unrealistic or that aren't practical. And if you have backlash to what Gary says about what an entrepreneur is, you are patently not following his advice. I think Gary does a really great job in saying, how do you confront people in your life that don't believe in you or don't think this is a wise idea? I think as an entrepreneur, you need to be really in tune with negative opinion. To be honest with you, even by Gary's definition of what an entrepreneur is, I am certainly not an entrepreneur. I work a full-time job along with doing this podcast and the YouTube videos. And so if you are an entrepreneur or you want to start your business, be very comfortable with negative opinion, rejection, all the things that kind of suck. And if that stuff is a problem to you, meaning you struggle with self-esteem, you struggle with people saying no, you struggle with failing, entrepreneurship is not for you, without a doubt. Do not go and strike your own business. Do not go try to trailblaze. You would be much better joining a company and doing extraordinary things there. And I think don't sell yourself short in that. I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to join a mission that you agree with, that you believe in, join that 9 to 5, join a good team and produce valuable content, valuable product for the market that people are going to say, this is useful, right? I work for a company that produces things for surgery, right? So, and what I do, I find very meaningful. And to be honest with you, I don't want to leave that. I'm doing this on the side because I enjoy the creative side of things and I'd love to build my own thing as well. But I'm okay with being rejected. I'm okay with people saying, hey, this doesn't work. This is kind of dumb. And I think as an entrepreneur, you need to be comfortable with that. And so back to Gary's statement, right? I think the really funny thing is Gary does a really good job about talking about when people don't approve of your idea, you need to be able to deflect. You need to be able to have those conversations and say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is, I believe in myself. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to grind. I'm going to outwork everybody. And especially the interesting thing is when he talks about your parents, right? Your parents may not believe in you. They don't want you to drop out of school and go pursue entrepreneurship. And Gary says in one instance, have that conversation with your parents and say, hey, in 5 years, one of us is going to be right, and just be able to stand your ground and be able to say, you know what, I don't need your approval to move forward. But what's funny is you've traded in mom and dad's approval for Gary's approval. Now Gary is your daddy, as funny as that sounds. You are still in the same problem. You're seeking validation and approval from some outside source. And the weird thing is that you probably won't ever meet Gary Vaynerchuck. I may never meet Gary Vaynerchuck, so why do I care what his definition of entrepreneurship is? His definition does nothing to me and the results that I'm seeking. And the same should go for you. Who cares what boxes are out there, what categories or definitions are defining you? Why don't you care about the more important thing, and that's results? Because if you care about what people call you, it really tells me you don't care about results. Who cares what box somebody puts you in if you're making $150K a year from something you built? That's what's more important. And so, honestly, I will ascribe to Gary's definition. I'm not an entrepreneur, and maybe you're not either, but who cares? If you are building something practically where you can say, I'm going to work my corporate job, but I'm also going to work on the side at this thing and give myself years to really flush it out, make it work, and produce something valuable, then you are doing good work. Don't feel that you need to be constrained to this definition in order for you to be respected. Your results will get you respect, period. So what I would end here is continue to focus on results. Stop caring about what people are saying. Stop caring about the boxes you put into. And whatever box you're in, sit in that box and just grind. Be in your space and grind. Outwork and out-hustle everybody. And Gary does a terrific job of driving this home. If you are not hustling, if you are not grinding, if you're not working and failing and trying again, you are not doing enough. And eventually, with enough hustle, with enough hard work and dedication, you will be able to give yourself the category that you want to be put in, and everyone else will agree, because ultimately your actions were louder than their words. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay proper.